Hello and welcome to Rathod's IAS. Today in this lecture, we are going to see current affairs of 27th August 2022. So let's get started with our discussion and let us try to see today's quote. As I said in the earlier lecture, we are going to discuss the quotes which are important from our UPSC point of view. So today's quote that you can see on the screen, so this quote, it is about integrity. So here this integrity, it is one of the important topic in your GS4, that is your ethics. So what is integrity? So even if no one is watching you, so how you are behaving, that is called as integrity. So the quote says that integrity is not something you show others. So integrity is not showing something, to others, but it is how you behave behind their back. So even though if no one who are watching you, so how you are behaving, that is your integrity. So you can use this quote directly when you are writing your mains answers in your GS paper 4, especially regarding this ethics. And this integrity is also one of the important thing that you can mention in your case studies also. So in the case studies also you can use this quote wherever you are giving this integrity. So now let us try to see the first topic. So first topic, it is about especially a draconian law. So this article which is mainly talking about AFSPA, that is Armed Forces Special Parts Act. So this article is very important, especially from your GS paper 3 internal security. So why it is important? Especially in the northeastern states. So in the northeastern states there is imposition of this AFSPA. And because of this imposition of ASPA, I think recently 4 months ago, so there was one incident. So this police forces, they killed some laborers and they mistaken that they were terrorists. So this type of events that will be commonly happening in this northeastern India. So because of this, the people in this northeastern India, they mainly don't want this AFSPA. So because of this, recently our Prime Minister, he gave one statement regarding this AFSPA. So this will become very important. So now let us try to see this topic in detail. And here you have to know about what is this AFSPA and what our Prime Minister, what statement given by our Prime Minister. So that you can use in the introduction of your answers. And even you have to know about what are the arguments against this AFSPA and what are the negatives regarding this AFSPA. And even you have to know about what is the government stand and what is the present status of this AFSPA. So these are some important dimensions that you need to know regarding this topic. So now let us try to see what is the context. So if you see context, our Prime Minister, he highlighted that the efforts they are being made to improve law and order situation. So especially to maintain this law and order in this area, our government came up with this AFSPA. But even before we got independence, Britishers came up with this AFSPA. So it is Armed Forces Special Parts Act of 1958. So here recently our Prime Minister said that, so there are some efforts taken by our government of India, and they are trying to improve this law and order situation in this northeastern states, and they want to completely lift this AFSPA in this northeastern India. So if you see this infographic, so it mainly gives the details regarding what is this AFSPA. So AFSPA is nothing but Armed Forces Special Parts Act. So actually this act which introduced in year 1958, and this AFSPA which mainly confers on the members of the Armed Forces Special Parts, and it is also imposed especially in Manipur since 1980 and even some areas. So because of this imposition of this AFSPA, so there were some hunger strikes. They are also seen since 2000 in this northeastern states, especially in some areas where this AFSPA which had been imposed. So if we are talking about what are the special powers, to whom the special powers are given, so what are those special powers which are given to this armed forces? So AFSPA which allows any commissioned officer or warrant officer and non-commissioned officer or any other person who is having the equivalent rank to fire upon or to use force against a person who is mainly acting against the law in this disturbed areas, and he can also arrest any suspicious people without any warrant, and they can destroy any structure suspected to house an arms dump or shelter from which armored attacks are happening, and even they can conduct some searches and warrants for evidence, etc. And here, okay, and here who have the power to decide so and so area as a disturbed area? So let me know the answer for this question in the comment box. And now let us try to see Armed Forces Special Powers Act. So actually here, before we got independence, here during this British time itself, so here in the British India, so Britishers came up with this Armed Forces Special Powers Ordinance of 1942, okay, especially to suppress the Quit India movement that happened in August of 1942. And next one here is, after the independence, the ordinance was imposed by Indian government, especially to deal with this internal security situation that mainly emerged because of this partition of India. And in our constitution, especially Article 355 of Indian Constitution, which provides the power to central government to protect every state from internal disturbance. Okay, it is focusing on protecting of every state from internal disturbance. And this Armed Forces Special Powers Act, which enacted by Parliament in year 1958. And here this act which provides some special powers to Indian Armed Forces and to preserve public order in these disturbed areas. Okay, so it is a one important thing that you have to remember. And if you are talking about the present status where this Armed Forces Special Powers Act is in action. So here actually the act which was amended in 1972, which mainly said that the power to declare these disturbed areas, they were granted to central government, and even state governments can also declare them as disturbed areas, but for only Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, and if you are talking about this Manipur and as well as Assam, so in this areas the notification can be issued by the state governments. And Tripura revoked this act in 2015 and Meghalaya revoked this act in 2018. Okay, let me know in present in which states this Armed Forces Special Power Act is in action. Okay, so let me know answer for this second question in the comment box. And now let us try to see what are the arguments they are supporting this AFSPA. So if we are talking about some arguments, the first one here is neither the soldiers nor superiors they have any training in civilian law or policing procedures. That is why a special law like AFSPA needed to be legitimize the presence and acts of armed forces in extraordinary situations. So especially in some extraordinary situation, if there is any disturbances in the law and order, yes, we need this type of special powers to maintain law and order. And apart from that, if we want to check insurgency and as well as militancy, which are mainly threatening the peace and security, okay, and as well as unity of nation, so in that area also, yes, we need this type of acts. And army needs such powers because army is only deployed with the national security. Okay, so whenever this national security it is at severe risk, yes, here army need to be intervened, and we need such a type of special powers for this army to maintain the security of our country. And if you're talking about what are the arguments which are against this AFSPA, so first one here is, yes, if there is any normal civilians who are killed by this armed forces means, yes, ultimately that will lead to this human rights violation, and we can also see some human rights abuses, so that are mainly seen because of this AFSPA. Okay, first one is human rights violation and as well as human rights abuse. And next one here is, yes, what happened, this law started a vicious cycle of violence in the northeast. Because of this AFSPA, which mainly implemented in a number of states and in some areas of so-and-so states, that led to increasing of demand for the autonomy, greater autonomy of the states. And next one here is, even second ARC recommendations, they recommended for repealing of this AFSPA. Okay, and this committee said that we need to go for scrapping of this AFSPA because it is leading to discrimination and alienation of people among this northeastern India. So there is no need of this AFSPA. So this is about this topic in detail. So let me know if you are appointed as district magistrate in that so and so area. So what are the steps that you are going to take, mainly to minimize this human rights violation and to minimize this human rights abuse. So let me know your suggestions or your opinions in the comment box. So now let us try to see the next topic. So this topic is also very important, and this topic especially which is talking about right to privacy. So here we have to know about what is this Puttaswamy case and why it is in news, because so it is a 5 years, okay. So 5 years of this right to privacy, which mainly made as a fundamental right through this KS Puttaswamy case of 2017, and we have to understand what is the status of this right to privacy now. So here if you are preparing for mains this year, so there is a high chance of getting question from this topic for sure. So please be prepared this topic. And here you have to know about what is this right to privacy and what is this KS Puttaswamy judgment, and you have to see about what are the issues which are going on regarding this right to privacy. So this topic is at most important, and try to understand this topic. So just butifying this topic is not important. Not by heart this topic, just try to understand and try to think about that issues. So we're talking about this right to privacy. So here this judgment which was passed in August 2014-2017, and the famous case is KS Puttaswamy versus Union of India. So in this KS Puttaswamy versus Union of India case of 2017, so the judgment passed by Honorable Supreme Court on August 24, 2017, and it is now we completed 5 years. 5 years of this judgment given by the 9-judge bench of Supreme Court, okay. So the judgment which delivered on that date formally recognized that right to privacy, it is a fundamental right. So on that day Supreme Court said that right to privacy, it is a fundamental right, and which mainly comes under Article 21 of Indian Constitution. So Article 21 talks about right to life and personal liberty. So this right to privacy, which is integral part of this right to life and as well as personal liberty, which comes under this Article 21 of Constitution. So this Article 21, it is fundamental right, which comes under our Part 3 of Indian Constitution. So I want to ask one question, whether this fundamental right is absolute or not. Not at all. These fundamental rights are not absolute. So there might be some reasonable restrictions can be imposed. Okay. So the bench also held that while his right to privacy is intrinsic to the individual's ability to exercise bodily autonomy. So this right to privacy, which includes right to bodily autonomy, okay, and it is not an absolute right. So even there can be some limitations or restrictions can be imposed. So we're talking about the Supreme Court judgment in this KS Puttaswamy case. So this apex court, which mainly said that apex court means, so if you see the hierarchy of courts in India, so at the bottom level, in the district level, we have district courts. In the state level, we have high court, which is the highest court in the state. And if you see within the country, if you are talking about the highest court, that is our Supreme Court. So because of this, Supreme Court is called as apex court in our country. So this apex court ruled that right to privacy, it is an intrinsic part or integral part of right to life and personal liberty, which comes under Article 21 of our Indian Constitution. So this Article 21, it is a fundamental right in our Part 3 of Indian Constitution. So even Supreme Court said that, Supreme Court also came up with some concern like, so there is a misuse of personal information in the public domain. So for example, if you are taking your mobile phone and if you are downloading any app, so it will say that I accept, and it will be giving some details like your phone, your media, your calls, your mobile apps, etc. And without reading all those terms and conditions, we are clicking I accept blindly. So because of that, that app that now can access our data from our mobile phone. And not only this, even if you are talking about our Aadhaar card, if you are linking our Aadhaar card with the so-and-so scheme, and even to get some Jio SIM or any SIM for your mobile phone, you are giving your Aadhaar card. So it will contain some personal information. So whenever this personal information is taken, then that information can be misused, okay, in the public domain. The Supreme Court of India, which mainly gains some international significance of privacy, and it enjoys a robust legal framework internationally, though India had earlier remained this circumspect. So what happened? So here Supreme Court judgments which gains international significance, because it also have some significance, because especially the right to privacy, it is also talked in some international conventions. So we are also going to see that. For example, Article 12 of Universal Declaration of Human Rights and even Article 17 of International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. So in this two areas also we are going to talk about this right to privacy. So whenever Supreme Court decided this right to privacy is a fundamental right, then it also gains some international significance, because it is also listed in this Universal Declaration of Human Rights and also International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights. So you have to remember those two for sure if you are preparing for this year mains. Okay, so actually what are these international conventions talks about? So they mainly legally protects the persons against arbitrary interference, okay, with the one's privacy, honor, and as well as reputation, family, home, and correspondence. So we're talking about what are the positives regarding these judgments and what are the negatives. So for example, as you all know, in our preamble of Indian Constitution, so preamble is also called as ID card of our Constitution or preface of our Constitution. So in that preamble also we are talking about dignity, right? So here, because whenever Supreme Court said that it comes under the right, fundamental right, that is right to privacy, so it ensures the dignity of the individual. Okay, it mainly ensures the dignity of individual. So this dignity of individual is also mentioned in our preamble of our Indian Constitution. And next one here is, it will impose sanctions on the government when it tries to encroach privacy. So when whenever the government which is trying to encroach into the privacy, so there also here, so this will put a check on our government. And next one here is, it will also give the impetus to right to personal liberty under Article 21 of our Indian Constitution. So these are some important positives regarding this judgment. And if you are talking about negatives, so what are the negative sides of this judgment? So it can hinder the implementation of and as well as performance of welfare schemes. So if you want to enroll in any welfare scheme, for example pension scheme, for example social security, for example health insurance, yes, Aadhaar card is necessary now. So whenever you are not providing this Aadhaar card details and you say that it is right to privacy, means what happen, you are going to not get the benefits of that so and so scheme. And government which is coming up with number of welfare scheme, especially to attain our director principles of state policy, but those implementation and performance will be lowered. The efficiency will be decreased if there is no proper information. And as you all know that, so we are linking our Aadhaar card, JAM Trinity, right? So because of this JAM Trinity, yes, we are focusing on this direct benefit transfers. So even if you are talking about LPG subsidies, yes, that are going to come through this direct benefit transfer. And next one here is, especially the schemes which are came up by the government, especially social welfare scheme, they are very important for the marginalized section of people. And whenever they are taking this Aadhaar card and whenever they are linking this Aadhaar card, then only they can go for identification of marginalized section of society. And one more thing here is, we are talking about targeted PDS system. That is, the people who are in the necessary only they are going to get that. So how can we identify the beneficiary? So if you are linking this Aadhaar card with this scheme, then only we can identify whether that so and so person is eligible or not. So in this way, your data is very important to identify the beneficiaries. And next one here is, right to privacy will also restrict police and intelligence agencies to collect some information, okay, about accused and as well as dead person. So to identify this accused and as well as dead person also, yes, we need this data. And if you're talking about some issues that we can see here in the news, recent news here is, first one is, whenever we are providing our Aadhaar card data, so it will be having some impact on privacy, right? So Aadhaar card initiative requires the collection of personal data. So we are giving out personal data, for example name, age, father name or husband name, and your address, and you're also giving your biometric information like your fingerprints and your iris scan. So it will be having personal data and as well as some non-personal data that is present there. Okay, but whenever we are linking this Aadhaar with the so and so scheme or to get even SIM card, yes, what happened, the data may be misused. Okay, so if you are talking about Aadhaar and privacy issue, it requires the collection of biometric details. For example, iris scan they are taking, and even they are taking the fingerprints. So this is one essential data that can be misused. And next one here is, as you all know, cyber security threats are very much high. So here what happened? So here there will be also threat from the cyberspace, and Aadhaar links statutory backup, okay, but there is no proper backup or there is no proper law regarding this Aadhaar card issue. So even if you're talking about the recent data protection bill which had been withdrawn, why? Because there is no proper law. It is after coming up of some law regarding the cyberspace, then only we can come up with updated data protection bill. So this is the thing which mainly said by government. And even recently we thought we already know about one issue, that is linking of Aadhaar with our voter ID. So nowadays some booth officers, they are forcing the people that they are going to lose their voter ID if they are not linking their Aadhaar card with their voter ID. So these are some issues and you have to think about this. And if there are any more things that can be added, so please let me know in the comment box regarding the recent examples of this right to privacy issue. So what is the need here? The need here is, yes, there is a threat from this cyberspace. So we need to strengthen our cyber security system, and especially we need proper law or act that will deals with this details. And next one here is, so even judiciary can play an important role, that is judiciary backing is necessary against violation of right to privacy. Okay, and now let us try to understand what is the stand of the government. So if you're talking about the stand of government, yes, government says right to privacy is a fundamental right. Okay, I will accept with that, but it is not an absolute right. So there can be reasonable restrictions can be imposed. So this is the view of government regarding this right to privacy. And now let us see the one main question. Question here is right to privacy a fundamental right in India? Yes, according to this K.S. Puttaswamy judgment of 2017. So in the light of concerns raised against government initiatives to collect personal data from citizens, critically comment. So try to write answer for this question. The answer already discussed by me in this lecture. So try to write answer and try to sit for just 15 minutes and try to write answer within 200 words. And now let us move on to next topic. So this is a very lengthy editorial. I can say it is a lead article in this today's editorial. So this article which is talking about manual scavenging. So already we discussed about data regarding this manual scavenging in India. So for the students who are beginner and who are watching this video for the first time, so for those students I will be giving you some background. So what is manual scavenging? Especially if you are talking about Varna system, we have Brahmins, we have Kshatriyas, we have Vaishyas and Shudras. So the people who left out of this, okay, here if you see here the people who are left out of this Varna system, so normally the scheduled caste people or Dalits, correct? So these Dalits, actually this caste system which came into existence because of the occupation they are doing. If you are talking about this caste system in the earlier Veda, during this Rigveda time, it was very much flexible. That means one person from one community, he can easily change to the other communities. But whenever we enter into this phase of this later Vedic age, so this caste system which became very rigid and there is no movement of the people from one section to the other section, one caste to another caste. So the same way, still now also there is caste discrimination that is seen in our society. Especially if you go to rural areas. So I saw one incident that whenever I used to go to one temple, okay, that is Hanuman temple. So at that temple, even Dalits, they will not enter into temple now. So they used to come and they will be just worshipping the god from outside the gate itself and they will go back. So there is no entry of temples. So let me know about what is this temple entry movement in that you may study in your modern history. So what is this temple entry movement? So who led this temple entry movement? So let me know in the comment box. So now let us try to focus on this topic. So here manual scavenging means nothing but the people, they will be removing the human excreta, okay, manually. So we're talking about this manual scavenging, why it is in news. So I want to give you the background. So Tamil Nadu came up with one law regarding this manual scavenging, and Tamil Nadu, it is a state, which is one of the state which lists the top in this deaths of this manual scavenging, deaths due to this manual scavenging. So here author says that all human lives are precious, but if you see in practice or practically, some professions, they are less precious than others. So especially people who are working in this manual scavenging, so their lives are less precious than compared to that of other human lives. So despite the efforts mainly taken by courts, despite the efforts taken by the government, we came with number of laws, for example, Prevention of Manual Scavenging Act, and we came with enforcement of those act. So but even people are engaging in this manual scavenging and they are losing their life. So why people who are engaging in this manual scavenging, they are losing life? As you all know that if you are infected with any disease, so yes, if you're going to the toilet, so in your fecus the microorganisms will be present, and without proper treatment, this sewage which is entering into the drains, especially in India. So whenever there is any blockage of the drains happening, so this manual scavengers, they will enter into that drain and they will be clearing that clogging. So because of this, they will come in the contact with the dangerous microorganisms, and even in this clogging of this pipe, so they will be not getting proper oxygen. So because of this suffocation, there is less amount of oxygen. So it is also one leading cause for the death of this manual scavengers. So while the job itself is dangerous, that is manual scavenging job itself is dangerous, as several other human pursuits. So sewage cleaning involves working with human excreta and cannot be seen without invoking the concept of dignity of labor. So whenever people who are working as a manual scavenger, so for that work there is no concept of dignity of labor. So this is also one important issue. So even our preamble of our constitution which talks about the dignity, but here for this people who are working as manual scavengers, there is no dignity of labor. So you can think about this once. So to allot the task of removing excreta and cleaning sewers to humans when machines were able to do the work in a gross violation of rights. So I want to ask one question to you students. So it is my personal opinion. So I don't want to criticize anyone. So just take this idea and try to think on that. So yes, we are well developed in this science and technology. And we are also trying to send this astronauts into the space itself through this Gaganyaan program, and recently this crew escape model which had been tested by ISRO. But why can't we come up with the machines instead of using human as a manual labor to clean these drains? So is it a big task for our scientists to come up with some innovative equipments? So it is my question, it is my personal opinion. So try to give me your opinion also in the comment box. So try to think out of box, because this type of questions that will given in your examination, in your mains and as well as in your UPSC. And to become a good bureaucrat, the out of box thinking is necessary, and I want to develop that skill in you people. And next one here is, if you're talking about the present context, Tamil Nadu government recently came up with notification of rules, that is prohibition of employment as manual scavengers and their Rehabilitation Act of 2013. Okay, so now let us try to see under this rules. Here there is prohibition of this manual scavenging. Manual scavenging is completely prohibited. So this rules which allows the manual cleaning in specific conditions where machines equipment cannot be deployed. So if there is no proper equipment and if there is a need of manual cleaning, so in that area, so they are mainly focusing on especially providing some protective devices or protective gear to these people. Okay, especially they includes airline breathing apparatus, airline respirator, air purifier gas mask, and a device for the artificial respiration, and mask and breathing apparatus. So if you saw some images of documentaries of this world geography, etc. So people, whenever they are going inside the water, yes, they will be having some equipment, right? So they will be having a gas cylinder, they will be having a respirator, and they will be taking some artificial respiration. So in the same way, whenever these manual scavengers, they are entering into the drains for the cleaning, yes, they also need such a type of equipment, because how the sea divers, so whenever they are getting into the water, so they will be having the problem of lack of oxygen. So in the same way, the people who are doing this manual scavenging enter into the drains, so they will be also having the same problem. So to address this problem, yes, this type of equipment is very important, especially to save the lives of these manual scavengers. So besides the chlorine mask, emergency medical, oxygen respirator kit, and even gas monitor for gases and hydraulic devices, So first aid they should be provided. Okay, and the list is not limited to only devices mentioned here, but even regular maintenance of equipment is very important, and even device has also been mandated by the rules. So if we're talking about the data regarding this death of manual scavengers, about total of 971 people they lost their life while cleaning of the sewers or septic tanks since 1993 onwards. So this is the data which is given by this Department of Social Justice and Empowerment Ministry. So here if you are talking about the top state, so here Tamil Nadu is also one of the top states in the list. So let me know about the deaths in your state especially. Okay, you can get the data easily and you have to make the note of this data. So that will be very helpful to write the answers in your mains. Because you may not remember the data of other states, but if you are focusing on your state and if you are preparing for even your state public service examination, so that will be important. Especially I want to inform Ilekya. So Ilekya is a student from Tamil Nadu. So she is also preparing for this group 2 and group 1. And Ilekya, try to make the notes of this manual scavenging act of your state Tamil Nadu. Okay. So now what is the need? The need here is the proper implementation of the rules and adequate monitoring are absolutely essential. So what is the need? Yes, we need the proper implementation of the rules. Yes, we have to focus on that. And there is a need of adequate monitoring, and as well as we need to focus on if there is any necessary of the new policies. Yes, government can come with that. So this is about this topic in detail. And now let us move on to next topic. So this topic is very important, and this topic which is talking about FIFA. Already you know that, yes, FIFA banned AIFFF, that is All India Football Federation. But what happened? So after that, here Supreme Court took this case and Supreme Court gave up with a recent judgment like, so yes, yes, we are not going to have this committee of administrators from now onwards. Okay. So after the judgment of the Supreme Court, yes, now FIFA lifted the ban on this Indian football body. So this article is important from the sports and even from our governance point of view. So now let us try to see context. So your World Football Governing Body, that is FIFA. FIFA lifted ban which imposed on All India Football Federation. Why? Because Supreme Court terminated the mandate of the COA Committee of Administrators, and which mainly cleared the decks for India to host Women's Under-17 World Cup in this October 2022. So what happened? So FIFA, it is World's Football Governing Body. So here this FIFA recently imposed a ban on this All India Football Federation. So why FIFA says that there is interference of third party and there is also corruption that is seen in this FIFA, in this All India Federation. Okay, so because of this it banned this AIFFF. So why it is important? Because in this year, in this upcoming October, so we are mainly hosting this Under-17 World Cup of this football, women's football. Okay, so what happened? The tickets already had been started sale. So if there is ban, means here India will not be allowed to host this All India, host this World Cup for this Under-17 football. So it is on cause of concern. So because of this, so this case which is taken as a serious, and Supreme Court gave the judgment that so we are going to end this committee of administrators which is considered as third party interference by this FIFA. So now here FIFA suspended the ban, it lifted the ban on this All India Football Federation. Okay, so this is about this topic. And if we are talking about some facts regarding this FIFA, so FIFA, it is called as Federation International de Football Association. So it is one of the highest governing body of football in the world. And actually, so it is a governing body regarding association of this football, not only football, futsal and beach soccer. So FIFA, it is a non-government profit organization or non-profit organization. It was founded in the year 1904. And if you are talking about headquarters, they are located in this Zurich. And now let us try to see this image. So this image, it is very interesting and I found in the first paper of The Hindu. So this image, it is about Artel Bridge. So actually the inauguration had been done. So our Prime Minister, he is on 2-day visit to this Gujarat, and I think most probably by today or tomorrow the inauguration will be done. So context says that Prime Minister during his visit, his 2-day visit to this Gujarat, which is beginning on this August 27th. So he will inaugurate this Artel Bridge, okay, which built on this river Sabarmati. Okay, so this bridge which connects this east and west side of riverfront of Ahmedabad. So here you can get a question regarding, so recently Artel Bridge is in use on which river, so it is built, for example river Narmada, river Sabarmati, like that. So it is on river Sabarmati. So this is one important presence fact. And if you talk about details, our Prime Minister, he will inaugurate this 470 acres Smriti One Memorial in Bahuj, and he will be also addressing this Kadi Utsav at the Sabarmati riverfront in Ahmedabad. And he also going to lay some foundation stone for other developmental projects as well. So we're talking about some facts regarding the Sabarmati River. Actually it is a seasonal river and which is mainly dominated by this monsoon rainfall. Where this river which originated in the Aravalli ranges or Aravalli hills and meets this Bay of Bengal, that means it is a west flowing river. Okay, it passes through districts of Udaipur in Rajasthan, Aravalli, Sabarkantha, Gandhinagar, Ahmedabad, Kheda in Gujarat, that is between Rajasthan, and it flows between this Rajasthan and Gujarat. And if you are talking about some important right bank and as well as left bank tributaries of this river Sabarmati, there is Sei, Siri, Damni, they are the right bank, and Vakal, Harnau, Hatmati, Kari, Vatrak, they are left bank tributaries. And this is the Sabarmati River here. So here we have right bank tributaries and here we have left bank tributaries. So please see this map once. And now let us try to see next topic. This topic is about African swine fever. So it is a fever which mainly seen in pigs. So now let us try to understand this topic. So this will be important from your science and technology, which comes under your GS paper 3. So because of this COVID-19 that entered into our life, so there is a lot of priority which is given for the diseases. For example, recently we studied about monkeypox virus. We studied about African swine fever, which is mainly seen in these pigs. And not only this, we also studied about tomato flu. And we also studied about Ebola, we studied about Zika virus, etc. Correct? So here, because of this emergence of the new disease, that may lead to increasing of pressure on our health infrastructure. So because of this new disease, even we increased our health sector expenditure as well. So now let us try to see the context here. Punjab government declared that in 2 villages they identified this African swine fever. Okay, and finally they notified these areas of infected areas for the prevention of the spread of this fever among the pigs. So if we're talking about some facts regarding this African swine fever, so it is a very highly contagious fever and it is a fatal, okay, it is a fatal animal disease and which affects in pigs, and it will also leads to the hemorrhagic fever in pigs. It is not only affecting the domestic pigs, even wild pigs also. So if you're talking about some signs and symptoms, we can see pigs are suffering from the high fever, depression, anorexia, loss of appetite, hemorrhages in skin, vomitings, diarrhea, etc. And actually it was for the first time detected in Africa in 1920s. And historically outbreaks have been reported in Africa and some parts of Europe, South America and Caribbean areas. And actually if any pig which is infected by this African swine fever, there will be no treatment. Finally we have to go for culling of animals, that is we have to break this neck of the animals, that is called as culling of animals. So this is about this topic, and now let us move towards this next topic. So this topic which is talking about our net zero target. So recently our Prime Minister in this 26 COP, that is Conference of Parties 26, that held in November in Glasgow. So in that conference our Prime Minister said that we are going to achieve this carbon neutrality or net zero by 2070. And this one report says that if we are going to achieve this carbon neutrality by 2070, yes, that will also going to boost India's GDP. So now let us try to understand this report, and this article is important from your GS paper 3 under economy. So now let us try to understand this report in detail. So if we're talking about context, it says that achieving this net zero. So what is the meaning of this net zero or this carbon neutrality? So that means, so how much amount of carbon dioxide is released into atmosphere is equal to amount of carbon dioxide absorbed. So released is equal to absorbed. That means the net will be zero. So because of this concept is called as carbon neutrality or net zero. So achieving this net zero or net zero or carbon neutrality emissions by 2070, it is one of the important target of our government of India now. Our Prime Minister, he committed to this carbon neutrality in this Glasgow summit of Conference of Parties, okay, which held in November 2021. And this report says that, so this target will also boost our Indian economy by 4.7%. And now we have to understand that how this carbon neutrality will increase our GDP. So for example, if we want to decrease this carbon emissions, we need to focus on this renewable energy. For example, solar power, wind power, tidal energy, etc. So we will go for development of these renewable energy related equipments, so that we will be focusing on manufacturing. So whenever we want to increase our manufacturing, then there will be need of workforce. So that will lead to increasing of employment opportunities. Okay, and we will be also focusing on the waste management. So wherever carbon dioxide is released, so we are going to get some technology to decrease this carbon dioxide emissions. Okay, so in this way here, there will be increasing of some jobs. And apart from that, yes, if you are talking about engines that you are using in your vehicles, for example in your two-wheelers or four-wheelers, etc. So we are using some fossil fuels, for example petrol, diesel. Okay, so here when you want to decrease emissions, we can go for this ethanol blending. Okay, so the target here is 20% of ethanol blending. So if you want to make our engines which are compatible with this ethanol blended petrol, or then what happened, we need to go for changes in our so-and-so equipment. So if you want to go for upgrading of our technology, especially we need investments. So this is all these areas that we can connect with this topic. So I am giving 2 or 3 dimensions here. So in this way, you have to think and you have to get 4 or 5 more dimensions. So I am going to give you the guide here, like how to think. And I want to make you to think. So if you start thinking, then you can see the different dimensions and the world becomes so interesting. So now let us try to see some details. So if you see details, it mainly says that it could create as many as 15 million new jobs by 2047, because we are focusing on new technology, upgradation, etc. Okay, so what are the old vehicles are there, we will be going for the recycling also, right? So in this recycling area also we can have the increasing of job opportunities. And next one here is, we can go for the getting this India to net zero report. Okay, the getting India to net zero report, which says that, so because of some new research and modeling, so we are going to come up with new policies that will initiate this clean energy transition. That means the transition from this fossil fuels towards this clean energy like renewable energy. So that will crucial in determining when India is going to achieve this net zero emissions. So because of this net zero emissions, we are also going to see some positive impacts, that is improved trade balance. Okay, and we can also reduce our demand for this fossil fuels as well. And we can reach this net zero by 2050 if India could boost annual GDP by as much as 7.3%. And if you are going to create like nearly 20 million additional jobs by 2032, then we can reach our target by this 2050, especially in this renewable energy sector. And India's net zero ambitions, they are not just important for the global fight against climate change, but even it can be also a boon for the country's own sustainable and inclusive development. Okay, so whenever we are creating jobs and whenever we are moving towards this green energy, yes, that will be also having some impact on our sustainable development and as well as inclusive development. And if approached with the comprehensive holistic planning in a way that attracts additional investment. So if you are proposing that we are going to have this so and so project, so we are having this idea, then automatically we can attract this investments. So that will ensure the transition from this fossil fuels towards this renewable energy, that is a clean fuels, and we are also going to achieve our net zero such that it can also create the new jobs and it will be having securing of livelihood of the people, and even it will be having some positive impacts on our health as well. So this is about this topic, and you can think about the dimensions: new jobs, investments, livelihood of people, and improving of health. Okay, these are some important areas that you have to think about. And now let us try to see the prelims practice questions. So first question here is H1N1 virus is sometimes mentioned in the news with reference to which of the following diseases? 2015. So I want to show you that how questions will be asked from this disease topic. So this is a question which already appeared in your 2015 UPSC prelims. So it is regarding swine flu. And next question here it is consider the following statements regarding Parliament. So Parliament may by law regulate any matters relating to the concern connected with the election of President and Vice President. Regarding election of President and Vice President, here Parliament they can may or by law regulate any matter. Yes, of course, this is a correct statement. And second statement here is all doubts and disputes arising out of the election of President and Vice President, they shall be inquired into and decided by Election Commission of India, and whose decision shall be final. But here the decision will be taken by Supreme Court as of my knowledge, but not by the Election Commission of India. So this statement is incorrect. And you have to identify incorrect statement, that will be B2 only. So this is about the prelims questions. And now let us focus on this vocabulary. So alienation. Alienation means transfer of ownership of property rights. So this alienation word that we can see in these tribes or tribal movements. And this one is legitimate. Legitimate means conforming to law or to rules. You are conforming the laws or rules. And impunity. Impunity means exemption from punishment or freedom from the injurious consequences of an action. So it is like exemption from the punishment. So this is about our vocabulary. And now I want to make you a small announcement. We in Rathod says we came up with this prelims test series. So this course is absolutely beneficial. So we are providing 30 tests which includes CSAT and as well as UGS. And especially we are providing quality questions. And we are covering each and every aspect of your syllabus along with 1.5 year current affairs. So this is a 1 year course, and the cost of this course is just 3,000 rupees. You are going to invest just 3,000 rupees for 1 long year to clear your prelims. So if you want to clear your prelims, you have to know whether you are in the right direction or not, whether you are following this elimination techniques, or whether you are understanding the how UPSC plays games with you. So how UPSC plays tricks. So if you understand this, then this is the secret to clear your prelims. So try to join this course, and if you have any queries regarding this course, so please call me on this number 8074765513. Okay, so if you want to take this course, you can visit our website rathodsisacademy.com. There you can see wide range of courses that we are providing, and you can also watch the demo videos without paying a single penny. So we in Rathod says we are also coming up with new batch of this mains answer writing practice, and this course is absolutely beneficial. So try to join this course as well, and this course which is going to be started from September 5th. So let us try to see today's Hindu newspaper as usual. So this is our Hindu newspaper. So the first article, it is regarding FIFA lifts ban on Indian football body. So I discussed this topic. And next topic, it is regarding 3-judge bench to review Supreme Court verdict on this poll promises. So once this is done, we are going to discuss this. So it is about the freebies. So already we discussed this freebies number of times, right? So here you can see Operation Lotus failed in Delhi. So you have to see what is this Operation Lotus. If you are from Delhi, you have to know about this Operation Lotus. And here you can see this is Artel Bridge. I discussed this topic. And if you move forward in this second page, that is city page, you can see no child should be left behind, says Kailash Satyarthi. So this Kailash Satyarthi and as well as Yusuf Malala, they got a Nobel Prize. Okay, so Nobel laureate Kailash Satyarthi, he said that every child, including those with special needs, they should not be treated. Okay, should not be treated without dignity. That means they should be treated with the dignity. Okay, so he mainly spoke at this empowering with love in the capital. Okay, he talked about the potential of children with disabilities as well. Okay, so if you move forward in this page number 3, there is nothing much important, and you can leave this page number 4 also. In page number 5, you can see about this African swine fever. I discussed this topic. And next topic is regarding Supreme Court raises Karnataka iron ore mining ceiling limit. So here mining, it is one of the important reason for the environment change, as climate change. Yes, we need to control this mining. Okay, yes, automatically mining is important, because if you are getting these minerals, then only we can go for development of our country. We can also go for increasing of our exports, increasing of trade with other countries, and we can get some forex reserves. But on other side, we can also focus on our environment. So keeping the limit is also very important. And if you move forward, here you can see High Court create awareness in schools on sexual abuse. Yes, actually I want to share one thing here is, whenever you are having a girl child, especially whenever she is in a young age itself, we have to make to understand what is a good touch and what is a bad touch. So yes, we have to create awareness of this sexual abuse in the schools, because recently the POCSO cases are increasing day by day, and there is increasing of sexual abuse against the children. Okay, so because of this, yes, child, they have to understand what is a sexual abuse, and they have to know, and they have to differentiate what is good touch and what is bad touch. And in this editorial, I discussed about this AFSPA, I discussed about this Puttaswamy case, I discussed about this manual scavenging. So this ground report, it is about Godavari floods. You have to see where is this Godavari originated, and you have to see the important tributaries and important dams. Okay, so that's it. And if you move towards in this page number 8, here you can see at least one constitutional bench will function all year. So what happened here, we are going to have a new CJI, that is Uday Umesh Lalit. Okay, so here he mainly said that yes, we need to have at least one constitutional bench that will function all the year, because there is also increasing of pendency of cases. So Justice Lalit, he says that this initiative, that is at least one constitutional bench that is functioning all year. So with this initiative here, we can also expect that there might be decreasing of pendency of cases. Already the pendency of cases that increased over 75,000 cases. Okay, and if you move forward here in this page number 9, you can see Army spends a procurement of light tank Zorawar for LAC. So you have to know about this. And if you move forward, I discussed about this net zero target, and as well as how it is having impact on our Indian economy. And here in this news page, there is one article regarding this lumpy skin disease will not impact the milk production. Okay, so already I discussed this topic number of times. And here you can see center pick 75 tribal districts for this TB intervention project. So here you have to know what is this TB. TB, it is a tuberculosis. So here, if at all any person who is infected with this TB, means they will be getting a constant cough, and in that cough also they will be getting some sputum, brown color sputum, or even the blood. So it is mainly caused by bacteria, that is the Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Okay, so you have to go to this article once, and you have to know about the target of elimination of TB of Government of India. And next topic here, it is CBI records conviction rate of 67.56% in 2021. Here you have to know what is the meaning of conviction. Let me know in the comment box, and you have to know some facts regarding the CBI. And this world's page, you can see here China pledges support to Sri Lanka at UNHRC section. So you can go to this topic once. And next one is China and Russia threatening the world order, says Taiwan president. And this one here is Pak declares emergency as flood toll rises to 1937. So after 138 years, so Pakistan received the heavy rainfall in this monsoon season. So normally it will be receiving average of 48 mm, but this time they got 166.8 mm of rainfall. So especially in the Sindhu province and Balochistan province, and especially this Faridabad region, they are under floods. Okay, it is because of climate change. So these are some important articles that appeared in our today's Hindu newspaper. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. So if you are new to this Rathod Science, try to subscribe this Rathod Science Academy and click the bell icon so that you can get regular notifications whenever we are uploading the video. And if you really like this video, so please hit the like button and share this video to your friends. So if you are hitting the like button, then it will be like encouraging me so that I can come up with the new content and new ideas in our Hindu analysis. So if you have any suggestions, so please try to post your suggestions in the comment box. So by this I'm concluding. Thank you so much and have a nice day. Jai Hind.